Hello, everyone. Um, just want to share my testimony of how I came to Jesus Christ. Um, all my life, I've never really truly questioned the existence of God. It was like I just knew, I was told about Him a little bit here and there. And I don't know, for some reason, it just stuck with me. It just always stuck with me. I never questioned it, I never doubted it. I really personally believe that God been in my life since I was a little kid. Um, I have almost died like maybe 3 times in my life. And each time God stepped in, you know, um, when I was a baby or in my mother's womb, when it was time for my mom to give birth to me, I actually wasn't supposed to be born on the day that I was born on. I was supposed to be born days or a week before the the date that I was born on. And I was a C-section baby. And I was losing oxygen when they cut my mother open to get me out. My mother, excuse me, they said that I was losing oxygen. And, when you do C-sections and the baby is losing oxygen, that means that that child can have brain damage, like severe brain damage. And the blessed thing is that I don't have brain damage. I had a bad case of ADD, but I don't know if that was behind that. I don't know. um, I remember my mother telling me stories like she was bathing me. I was very little. I don't know how old I was. I was a baby, and she was bathing me. She said that I would reach out my arms, stretch out my arms, and giggle and laugh, and there'd be nothing there. And she said, she asked somebody, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's angels, angels entertaining. Yeah, angels entertain babies sometimes." And I never heard of this. And I'm not a skeptic of it. I really believe that's possible. Because children are closer and nearer to God than a person that's of age of accountability. And yeah, she said I would stretch out my arms, my hands, and giggle and laugh like as if there's something there. And she would look up, there's nothing there. And I did this several times when during bath time. um my mother told me there was an incident where she uh she wanted to have a night out, and so she hired a babysitter to watch me. And she got to the place, something told her, you need to go back home. And eventually she heeded that voice and came back, went back home. And when she got home, this was an apartment building, and we lived up a couple of stories, maybe 2 stories up. Well, I was hanging out the window, crying for my mother. So something told my mom, go home. And when she did, she found me crying. I wasn't really hanging out the window, but like the window was open. And the position that I was in, I could have easily fell out. I was only what, maybe 1 years old, 2 years old, or something like that. I was very, very little. And I believe that God told her to do that. I had another incident at the age of 8. My family went out to this lake to not far from where we lived. We went out to this lake, and my stepdad at the time and my brother, they went out swimming. They were racing. Well, I decided to put my feet in the water, but I had ended up slipping, and I ended up um, slipping into a deep, deep part where I couldn't land my feet anywhere. So I was basically drowning. And my mother was holding my sister. My sister was very young at the time, and my mother didn't know what was going on. I was trying to get her attention. She saw me, but she thought I was playing. But she was so wrapped up on watching, you know, my stepfather at the time and my brother race. And to this day, no one knew that I was drowning. But when I was drowning, something out of nowhere pushed me up out of the water. And, I really believe I have a angel or something watching over me, because I don't, to this day, I have no idea what lifted me up out of that water. I mean, something lifted me out of that water. I do not know. Something deliberately pushed me from my feet out from that deep part to safety where I could put my feet on. And I just immediately afterwards, I just got out of that water. And nobody to this day knew that I was drowning. So that was another incident that I could have been killed. Second incident. Now, this incident, I don't know if I want to say that I could have been killed, but it could have turned, it could have, two things could have happened in that situation. I could have went down a very dark, dark path, or I also could have killed myself. And, so in my younger years, I used to really, really, how old was I? I think I was in middle school at the time. I don't think I was in high school just yet. I used to love horror movies, especially slasher films like Halloween, Jason, the Michael Myers. Of course, I said it already. Halloween, Michael Myers movies, Jason, Scream. Scream was like my favorite out of all of them. Slasher films. And I gained a fascination with knives, so I used to play with them. I had a butcher's knife, and I decided to take the butcher's knife and put it in between the two pillows I had, and I slept like that. And I got up in the morning to go to school, you know, like usual. And I came home. And when I came home, my mother said, Felicia, I need to talk to you. And, I'm confused at this point. I'm like, okay. I have no clue what she wants to talk to me about. And I'm saying to myself, like, what did I do this time? Even my sister looked at me like, what you do? I was like, I don't know. And, so Dana, my mother told Dana to go in her room and do what she needed to do. And so I went into the room. Mother told me to close the door. And I sat down. I'm nervous. I'm like, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think what she wants to talk to me about. And my mother, she says, is there something going on? Is there something wrong? Is something bothering you? You can tell me if anything is bothering you. You can talk to me. And I was like, I know. And I told her, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm fine. I don't feel any kind of way. I don't feel. She was like, okay, well, Donald, my stepfather at the time, she told me that there's a room next to my room that where he goes in to do uh, some things in there, and as he was heading down into that room, something stopped him and said and told him to go into my room. Mind you, my stepfather respects me. He never bothered me. He doesn't go into my room. He doesn't go, he has no reason. But something told him to go into my room and look underneath the pillow. And my mom, when she told me this, she said, and he found this. And she pulled out the butcher's knife that I had underneath my pillows, between my two pillows. She was like, there's something or something is watching over you. You got an angel or something watching over you. And she was telling me you could have killed yourself. You could have turned the wrong way and jabbed yourself in the neck. It's really dangerous to do that. And I didn't think of it at the time, but it was mind blowing because how would he have known that I had a knife underneath my pillow? I didn't tell anybody. Like I simply took the knife with no one's knowledge and was playing with it. And before I went to bed, I put it in between my two pillows and went to sleep like that. And I come home and, you know, the Lord told on me. Pretty much. But see, the Lord was looking out for me, you know? And I mean, that's a supernatural thing. Like that was amazing. Like that and I thank the Lord because like I said, once again earlier, like I said, that could have went two ways, like I said. I could have been killed, like jabbed in the neck while I was asleep and bled to death. Or I could have really got to a dark point in my life. I'm not saying that I could have ended up a serial killer, but it just would have took me in a very dark path because that's where I was heading. With the fascination of knives. I didn't think about hurting anybody, but I liked the blood. I'm not kidding you guys. I'm not lying. That's what I mean. It was demonic. And that's why I had to stop watching horror films and stuff like that. But I liked the blood on the blade. I actually used to play with red food coloring and put it on the blade because I like it. I like the way it looked. It was, I don't know, it was just beautiful to me at the time. And I know now that I think about it, I was getting kind of warped in my thinking. So I'm glad that there was a divine um, how I want to say this, interruption, if you will. God interrupted that and said, nope. So that was one incident. A third incident where I almost was killed. I was with my uncle and my cousin Shanice. And he took us out to see his friend out in Virginia. Well, long story short, we was coming back from Virginia, back to New Jersey. And yes, by the way, I was raised in South Carolina, but I was born in Belleville, New Jersey. My all of my family is from New Jersey, but when I was 8, when I was at the age of 6, just a little background story. um, at the age of 6 or 5 or 6, I forget. I think it was 6. We moved down to South Carolina in Greenwood, South Carolina, and that's pretty much where I lived. But I would go back and forth during the summertime. My father would come pick me up and take me to New Jersey, and then once summer break was over with, he'll bring me back down, so I'll start my next school year. So just a little background. Yes, I'm from New Jersey originally, but I was raised in South Carolina, but went back and forth from South Carolina to New Jersey. And I graduated, I moved back to Jersey. And then after I got pregnant, I moved back to South Carolina. So anyway, off that, back to the story. Yeah, so we was on our way back to Jersey, and my uncle had too many to drink, too much, too many. And he was still kind of experiencing the hangover, and he was sleepy, very, very sleepy. And it's nighttime, it's getting dark, it's nighttime. And me and my cousins in the back seat, and the boy, his friend's son, I believe that's his son, is in the passenger seat. I'm a teenager. I'm like maybe 15. I think I was 15, 16, one of those that this incident happened. And it's dark. I'm noticing that he's drifting in and out of sleep while driving. I remember we were on the highway, driving between two trailer tractor, trailer trucks, 18-wheeler trucks. And literally, he was drifting from one lane and then drifting to another lane. I was already feeling like something is not great tonight. Well, we stopped at a gas station. Long story short, we stopped at a gas station. He went to go get him something to keep him awake, get some gas in the car, and go get something, some caffeine or something to wake him up. And, my cousin woke up and she was talking to me. And out of nowhere, I had this automatic thing come down. Something came over me, and the message was, "Be alert." God was telling me to be alert. And I remember tensing up, and I said to myself, okay. Like I was taking heed of what he was telling me. And I knew God was telling me to stay alert. Well, after he got the gas and the caffeine, head back on the road. Mind you, it's late at night. It's like 1 a.m. in the freaking morning. It's like midnight. And everybody's tired. My uncle is beyond tired. The boy in the passenger seat was sleeping. My cousin was sleeping. Mind you, I wanted to sleep too. But I was so scared and so wired. I said something is about to happen. Well, my uncle fell asleep. I'm watching my uncle go in and out of sleep, in and out. I'm scared at this point. I'm calling out to the Lord. I'm saying, Lord, please help me. Please help. Please help. I'm really scared. And it got to a point that there was no cars around. It looked like we were the only people on the road. And I saw him, he literally closed his eyes. He was asleep. And his foot was on the accelerator. And so he was driving faster. Well, I looked ahead and I noticed there was a car, the backlights of a car. Mind you, it's nighttime. And at first, it looked like it's moving. But as we begin to get closer and closer to this vehicle, I noticed that it was not moving. It was stationary. When I tell you, I yelled, I said, Uncle Darren. I said, Uncle Darren, Uncle Darren. He woke up. You heard the tires screeching on the asphalt. You can smell the rubber burning on the asphalt. I'm telling you, we were like inches from crashing, colliding into this vehicle. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, if I had a not paid attention, if I had a went to sleep like everybody else in that car, I promise you, I don't think I would be here today. And if so, I would have been a vegetable. My uncle and that young boy would have been the first out the door. Because how fast he was going and how that car was just sitting still, was not moving. It was traffic ahead. But mind you, like, there was no traffic where we were at. Like, it looked like there was nobody on the road. And out of nowhere, there was a random car right in front of us. And man, I'm telling you, we would have slammed, boom, right in the back of that car. There would have been some deaths that night. I really believe that we could have died that night. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for the Lord saying something to me and it wasn't for me heeding his warning, no matter how tired and sleepy I was, because I wanted to close my eyes too. I was very tired, but I was so scared. I just so petrified. So that was the other incident. So you see, the devil tried to snuff me out at a very early age, a long time ago. Well, fast forward in my life, I would say in my early 20s, I was searching. I was searching myself. I was trying to figure out who I was. I was at a point I didn't know what to do with my life, and I didn't know what purpose I served. Um, I only have one person in my family that was filled with the Holy Spirit, and that was my grandmother, Nana. And, I didn't reach out to her too much like I should have. And my Aunt Joanne. But at the time, I just felt so empty and I just wanted some kind of purpose in life. So I sought out God. But at the time, I didn't understand the true gospel. I didn't know the true gospel. Uh, Unfortunately, my grandmother, she was brainwashed with prosperity teaching. So I went along with it. And long story short, as I was seeking God, because I just wanted to have some kind of purpose and some kind of happiness, some kind of fulfillment, some kind of success in my life, some kind of want in my life, because it was like, I don't know, to me, I was just so empty. I didn't, I didn't know what I wanted. I just wanted to feel alive. I wanted to feel like, I wanted to feel like I had some kind of purpose, or I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to fill that void that I have in my spirit. Well, long story short, I thought prosperity teaching was the answer until one day God showed me that it wasn't. One day I was listening to Frederick Casey Price Jr. Well, or I think his name is Fred Price Jr. I was listening to one of his sermons back when he was at the mega church. And I think this was either Halloween or after Halloween. I was like, yeah, I'm going to listen to some sermons. So I'm trying to get close to the Lord. Well, in the process of me doing that, he told us to, I forget, but he said, turn to so and so. I don't remember what it was. And he went over a verse and he was like, he was putting his own interpretation of it. But something told me to read above that verse. So I read what was above the verse. And when I did that and got to the verse, it's like I understood what that verse meant, and that what the verse meant had nothing to do with what he was talking about. And I actually was in disbelief. I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? Wait. Am I losing my mind right now? I forget what it was. But I said, okay, so I'm not crazy. Let me do this again. So I rewind the tape. I played it again. He said the verse, and he gave his own interpretation of the verse. And then when I read what was above it, it had nothing to do with what he was talking about.